Yes, some of them. You have to find in your group here. You have to find out everything that is with fear of sinful reaction. In where the verses are speaking about that. From 28 to 46.
Are you going to share it afterwards, or is it just like?
No, you have to share it with you. Maybe we even you can write it down, so we have it for.
We have some guide to start and stop.
Yeah, I'll say you have to start with, let's say, 15 minutes, and then discuss it and make yourself ready for explaining it. You can maybe choose one of the group to very shortly just present. We saw, for instance, enjoyment. We saw it in this verse and this verse and this verse, and just explain shortly how.
We have to find words.
You go through yours compassion, right?
Yeah.
So you go through text 28 to 46 and find all the verses where Arjuna is giving that reason for not fighting compassion. And some of them might be overlapping. And if anyone needs help, please call me. I'm here. What's in the house? And it's mainly in the verses, right? You don't need to go through all the purports because you don't have time for that.
You don't need to go to the purpose?
No, just in the verses.
But if you don't like it,
Yeah, you can go through the verses. But first find in the verses.
Og det er kvindestand for nødvendigt og efterkommer af hvad jeg kender ikke det har. Ja, det er faktisk det, vi Sørge for, at de ældste sørger for de yngste, og de yngste skal også gå ud i verden, og så vi selv føler sig fra at erobre verden og have sin nysgerrighed. Og så alligevel er det en tradition af familien, søger lykke. Så er det hvad forbinder du med ordets skyld? Altså, hvad er det? Ja. Og det er så usynligt, så det er ikke usynligt. Det er lidt usynligt. Ja. Hvad er det mere? Skal vi komme til at snakke om nummer 3? Ja, det er compassion. Eller skal vi det? Men har du noget at sige?
Jeg prøver at finde steder, så det er
Der står på grund af de unge gerninger, som er blevet begået, at familietraditionen ødelægger til indbyggeres alle former for familieprojekt og sociale velfærdsaktiviteter. Hvad det så ikke betyder, det er også en tekst 42.
Five minutes more.
Actually, this 32 and What should we gain from Christian husband and wife? And how should we be happy? And that's actually what the people are doing to so they can make it sit as also.
Ready to give up his hand.
That's actually the structure you have to get.
Ready to give up.
And also there's
We better round out now. You have 1.5 minutes. So maybe you just run out and round out. Okay, dear devotees, please come back to your seats. Finished or not? Also the destruction of the family group. So, group 1, did you find any compassion from Arjuna?
Oh yeah, we found it from 28 to 46 full of compassion.
Yes.
So we have decided that Arjuna was really very compassionate fellow because, because that's what he's saying. Starting from text 28, he says that a devotee is, we found out that it is reflected that a devotee is naturally compassionate because he has not only compassion for his relatives but for the soldiers, not only on his side but the other side also, because he's really feeling for them also, that they will also get killed. So it's a kind of sign of compassion that this man Arjuna has on the battlefield. And then text 29 shows the symptoms of a compassionate person, that he's trembling, like he's not hardcore Kshatriya that he will just kill for anything. But he's trembling, so these are the symptoms of a compassionate person who thinks.
Can you read the verses, 28 and 29?
28, I'll just read the translation. Arjuna said, "My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth crying out."
That's compassion.
I can read. Yeah. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my whole Gandhira is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning.
Then from 32 to 35 we find that he's not ready to fight against who against the people who are even ready to kill him at any single time. So he's still not ready to kill them. He says that, okay, let them kill me, but I'll not kill them.
Okay.
42, 41.
Can you read that? Can you read that, please?
I think that's not. Oh yeah.
You want the full part?
Yeah. Not the purport, but
No, no, that's not that. Yeah,
it's
Just
three
read
verses
the whole.
together.
Okay, I read this 32, 35. O Govinda, of what a way to us a kingdom, happiness, and even life itself, when all those to whom we may desire are now arrayed on this battlefield. O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra?
There's compassion there, but there's also some other things.
Yeah,
besides
yeah.
the compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wait, can you please rearrange again so you can sit up here? So, otherwise I can see you.
And then in 40-41, he says that he's compassionate for the ones who haven't even come in the world yet, because he says that this kind of things that we are doing, this kind of war, only the ones who are yet to come in the world, because the women will be polluted firstly, and then the people, the children who are yet to be born will be polluted obviously. And then he's like, the ones who, he's compassionate to the ones who have departed, because he says that people will stop doing offerings, and then your ancestors who are already departed will also suffer. So he's a very thoughtful guy. He's thinking about everyone, just not his family and his thing, but he's thinking about even about the people who haven't even appeared in the world and who have departed. He says that it's going to pollute the society. He means.
Can we also hear this?
When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vishnu, comes unwanted progeny.
That's one that's a little more indirect, huh?
Yeah.
Question with respect to this verse. He's talking about the pollution in the family that would come, but then are Kauravas already not polluted and what they did already with Pandavas?
Can you please write it down and ask it later, because otherwise we'll lose the momentum.
Yes. And then 42, 43, 44 is the same thing. He's more concerned about the society in general. And then finally he says, okay, let me get killed unarmed or whatever, but I'm not going to kill anybody, because this will lead to everything which is wrong. And that's what we found, that he's really compassionate, because he's thinking about everybody but him. So
that was very good, very thorough work you did there. So I'll just sum up, and the most important one of those are 28, 29 for sure. They're really, this is where Jonas specifically speaking about compassion. 32 and 35 also, and also they speak about 40,
42, 40, 42,
42 where he speaks about destruction of the family. Okay, number 2 is enjoyment.
What we have.
So, sorry, if you just mentioned the verse, sorry, you mentioned the verse number, this we find, and then just read the verse.
Okay.
And then explain
what
why.
we need is throughout we could not find any enjoyment.
In the first chapter.
Okay.
We realized that Arjuna is captured by his first illusion of his greatness towards thinking about all the relatives, friends, and it's like a goodness of him is coming out as an illusion against his will or against his dharma. And every time he is confused and he is seeking help from Lord Krishna, that you are God and you are reddish person. So
Yeah.
what would you suggest?
Could you try to read out text 31?
I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsman in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness.
That's what he's saying. How will I be happy?
Yeah.
How will I enjoy? And all these great warriors like Bhishma and Drona, all these persons again, when they're not there to enjoy it, how can we enjoy our palaces, our wealth, and really be able to enjoy it?
So there is a small desire in him, which is, that's why he's asking this question that how he will enjoy without him, or is it like?
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying. How can we enjoy when they're not here? If we kill all these personalities, how can we enjoy it even though we get wealth? We have nobody to enjoy it. The person we respect.
He also says that everything he's supposed to enjoy, which he cannot because there's no one to enjoy, which will be tainted with blood also.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Spoils of war taken by killing those dear to him, and not in any way satisfy his desire to enjoy anything.
Also, if you can read 32 to 35 again, you were just about to.
So does Arjuna understand that he will not enjoy for sure, or still he has got a question mark that how he can enjoy? So he is seeking help with Lord Krishna over there, or he has concluded in his mind that he cannot enjoy without his
Yeah. He even says if I'm in the heaven, like a heavenly planet, I will not enjoy.
So he's sure that there is no enjoyment without them, and it's not good thing to do.
Yeah. Just this 2 to 35, because it's about enjoyment.
O Govinda, of what avail to us our kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those to whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, father-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for 3 worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra?
Yeah, thank you very much. So we had 31 and 32 to 35. So that's actually 31 to 35. So next one is destruction of the family.
Yes, 31. Verse 39, I see him speaking of destruction. It says, with the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. Yeah, here it speaks if you kill the old people in the family, there will be nobody to give the tradition to the younger people, and then they can go back to Krishna. Because they won't learn how to do it and learn the traditions and everything.
There's also this very important with the destruction of the family, because there were so many men involved in the battlefield, only men, only Kshatriya men. But they're also the protectors of the whole society, and if women, there was this when irreligion is prominent in the family of Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood or descendant of Vishnu comes unwanted progeny. So this in former times especially there was this understanding, or in the Vedas, that if there is somebody in the family who was degraded to a hellish condition after dying, then if they had a good son, there was a good son in the family, then he could perform pinda or offerings to Vishnu, and in this way that degraded family member would be rise to a better position. And this is why in the Vedic society it's so important to get a proper children who can uplift the whole family, like Lena said, to the ultimate goal of life is to become lovers of God. But without proper children and trained children, then it is impossible. So the women here said in the purport that women are like children, they need protection. And if all these men are killed, then there are no more protection.
Okay. With more or question?
Yeah, actually it goes on.
It is, right? It's a whole it's from 37 to 44, it's back to the destruction of the family. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you.
Also, text 42.
Ja, 42, ja.
På grund af de onde gerninger, som er blevet begået af familietraditionens ødelægger, tilintetgøres alle former for familieprojekter og sociale velfærdsaktiviteter.
By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are very safe.
Altså, ja, undskyld, at jeg altid laver lidt personlige relationer med ligesom, når du starter.
Because half of the people there know you can understand.
I'm sorry if I make some personal relation, but like also I felt when my father was dead.
No, that's no, we don't. No. Now we get in the middle of this. Now we cannot get into all kind of deviations.
Yeah. Sorry.
Next one.
Yeah. Our group number 4, we are supposed to find out the fear of sinful reactions, what Arjuna felt. So the verse number we were given was 31 to 48. So starting from verse 31 to 36, Arjuna sees no good in killing his own kinsman. The fear he feels is, even after killing his own kinsman, what he would get a kingdom which would be tainted with the blood. And since he sees, although he has done wrong, all those people have done wrong, they can be forgiven on religious ground. So it is no good in killing them, and although whatever he gets, it will be temporary. After all, it's a material happiness, so it won't last forever. So this is the fear he feels of getting unwanted sinful reactions by killing his own kinsman. So that is in verse number 31 to 36. Then after that, he also feels once this family is destroyed, the entire dynasty is destroyed, the family tradition which they follow will be vanquished. So most of us have already spoken about that, so it is a repetition. So it will be vanquished, and then this will lead to irreligion because nobody is following the tradition, so definitely this will give rise to irreligion. And more irreligion means people will get involved in more sinful reactions like unwanted progeny. And when the other fear that he feels of not following the family tradition is that forefathers who are in the heaven or whoever in the hellish planet, they will be suffering much more because they won't get the offerings that normally is performed when one has a family tradition. So that is the another fear that he feels. And third fear, he feels that even if he achieves everything and if the family tradition is vanquished, nobody follows the welfare activities, the community projects that one has for the welfare of the community or the society, that will be easily devastated because people will see no goal or no good in following that. And the last that he feels is one has to do prayaschitta or atonement to get away from this sinful reaction, but nobody will do that. So anyway, once we acquire this, since nobody will do the atonement on prayaschitta, everyone will definitely go to hell. So this is his last bit that he mentions in the verse number 43 or 44.
Thank you very much, everyone. Is everybody still awake? It can be like after 2 hours, it can be, but we have no time for breaks. We need to put in some more air, or are you okay?
Yeah.
Good. So all this, again, I will send you. So I'll get your emails after and I'll send all these so you have all these numbers. It's actually, when you're speaking about before about this finding a way around environments, and this helps a lot. Right? You know, okay, here you were speaking about compassion, you immediately start dividing up. So if you have this, if you sort of like memorize it, maybe not like exactly from each verse, you don't have to, but you might just know approximately, okay, here is Arjuna speaking about this reason not to fight, here is speaking about this reason. And then in the next chapter, now Krishna will come on the field. Now Krishna will start speaking his philosophy, why you have to fight. So that will be, next we will try to find some of the reasons Krishna is giving to defeat these. And then you can already start thinking about them, because they're very good reasons, isn't it? It's very good reasons he's giving, complete good reasons. But Krishna smashed them to pieces.
There's more or less the same reasons we use sometimes for ourselves
Yeah.
not to do things.
Yeah. Can be very good reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is. So this is from the purport to verse 28. Practically the whole community, all blood relatives of Arjuna had come to fight with him. This overwhelmed a kind devotee like Arjuna. Although it is not mentioned here, still one can easily imagine that not only were Arjuna's bodily limbs quivering and his mouth drying up, but he was also crying out of compassion. Such symptoms in Arjuna were not due to weakness, but due to soft-heartedness, a characteristic of a pure devotee of the Lord. So here we heard in the verses here, Krishna explained all Arjuna, Sanya is explaining many of these symptoms. Actually Arjuna is explaining some of these symptoms, my mouth is drying up, all these symptoms. But probably is he adding in the purport, we can imagine he's crying, crying out of compassion, really, mostly, right? He's crying out, how can you do this, Krishna? Isn't it evil? And also, like, you can see what kind of situation he's in. It's not an easy situation. Arjuna is put in. To 31 purport. Arjuna's sole opportunity for gaining a kingdom lies in fighting with his cousin and brothers, and reclaiming the kingdom inherited from his father, which he does not like to do. Therefore he considers himself fit to go to the forest and live a secluded life of frustration. So this is one of the reasons Arjuna is giving, like, a little bit implicitly here. That he says, I can just go to the forest, Krishna, and there will be no reactions. I can just live by eating berries and fruits and drink the water of the lakes. I will not take anything. But Krishna feels that also. Just one point, I like how Srila Prabhupada is wording this last line. Therefore he considers himself fit to go to the forest and live a secluded life of frustration. So what he's saying there is he will be frustrated. Why?
First of all, he's not living out his dharma, he's a warrior, so he will start fighting anyway in the forest with some animals or something, start bleeding.
Yeah, his dharma is a fighter, he's a warrior.
Also, it's not what Krishna wants to do.
Yeah, but even just materially he won't be,
Yes.
he won't be satisfied. So he, at one point, he will start, as you say, he will start finding the animals or protecting the sages there. And eventually he will go back and he'll say, okay, now I declare war. And then one of our acharyas says, and then Krishna says, then I will laugh at you. So then you're on your own, then you will not have me as a character.
It's also very often we use these reasons for ourselves to not follow the instructions of our spiritual master, for instance. We will just sit and chant and read and be peaceful. That is not what the spiritual master wants from us. I mean, we are Maya. We cannot do any progress at all in spiritual life.
It isn't automatically like we need a spiritual master. Right? Here, of course, he has Krishna directly, but we need a guide and teachers and follow. Was there one more hand? Again, the purport, Arjuna, 32 to 35. Arjuna has addressed Lord Krishna as Govinda because Krishna is the object of all pleasures for the cars and the senses. By using this significant word, Arjuna indicates that Krishna should understand what will satisfy Arjuna's senses. But Govinda is not meant for satisfying our senses. If we try to satisfy the senses of Govinda, however, then automatically our own senses are satisfied. anyone that have an analogy, there's actually two analogies Prabhupada would use again and again for the last sentence here. If you try to satisfy the senses of Govinda, then automatically our senses are satisfied.
We can say one of the tree because the root, maybe the leaves,
Yep.
the fruits, whatever will become nourished.
Yep.
Or if you water the fruit, not where the water will simply fall down and put it on the ground.
So you give the water to the root of the tree and then the whole tree is nourished. You cannot water each leaf. Yeah, that's one of them.
Interesting. Nå, men hvis du giver maven mad igennem munden også. Sorry. If you give food to the stomach and through the mouth, then the whole body is nourished. Instead that the hand cannot sit and squeeze a mango in your hand and then feel satisfied.
So then, really, if we really understand that principle, we are constantly Krishna conscious. Because we are Anandamaya Vyasa, right? We are looking for pleasure, constantly. So if you know this is what will give you pleasure. But there's two ways, there's what is called Shreyas and Prayas. Prayas is what you get here and now. So if you eat an ice cream, that's Prayas. You get an immediate result. But if you take an education, that's Shreyas. So you take an education, then you can eat all the ice creams you want because you get money. So really, you take an education for a long-term good goal. Most people are doing this because they know this will make me materially strong and happy. So that's really what we're doing here. We're taking the highest education, the highest Shreyas. That if we, the highest education,
Yes.
the highest good for ourselves.
Yeah.
That if we do this, we give pleasure to Krishna's senses, and then our senses will automatically be satisfied. I'm actually just now thinking of another example of when Gandhi and Pandavas was living in the forest, and Duryodhana he sent a sage, Durvasa Muni, to Pandavas. And Durvasa Muni was traveling with thousands of disciples. So they were living in the forest, so Durvasa Muni he always wanted to test whoever he came to and visited, he tested them. So he said, give me food. And they, how do we get food for 1,000 people that are living in the forest? But actually Draupadi, she was given a special pot by one of the demigods, who was it? Anyway, it'll come shortly. So,
Indra?
No guesses allowed.
No, I'm sorry, it was also from Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni also, because she pleased him very much. She was serving him when she was a little girl. His father invited Durvasa Muni and she was serving him, so he gave him this plate. If I remember correctly, I think so. Anyway, that's not the point of the story. And then, but this pot would only work until she had eaten. So Duryodhana, he was very, very careful to see that he came there, the sage and all his disciples came there after Draupadi has eaten. Because then he knew he could not feed them. So they would get a terrible reaction, he would curse them. So then he came there and he said, please give me food, and Draupadi, she's just crying and crying and crying and praying to Krishna. In desperation, Krishna, oh Govinda, please help. So Krishna, he came. He actually descended there. And he says, go and see in your pot if there's just something little back, right? Something in your pot. He says, no, there's nothing, I ate everything. Please go and see. And there was like a little speck of something, like maybe she didn't wash the pot probably. So he said, Krishna said, give me that. And Krishna ate it. And then all of them, Durvasa and all his disciples, they were completely full. So then they just left.
Just by one little drop, they can get salt in the food.
That's the purpose. That's the principle. Krishna's given pleasure. Okay, this is the last, and we are finished for today. As a natural devotee of the Lord, Arjuna did not like to retaliate against his miscreant cousins and brothers, but it was the Lord's plan that they should all be killed. The devotees of the Lord does not retaliate against the wrongdoer, But the Lord does not tolerate any mischief done to the devotee by the miscreants. So this is really, again, devotees always seeing if anybody is criticizing me or do anything with me, it doesn't matter. But Krishna will not. So that's why we should be very, very careful when we associate with devotees, especially if we want to try to criticize the devotees. Because if we do, the devotees will, because they are humble by nature. So the devotees, they will just say, okay, it doesn't matter. But Krishna will not. Krishna will be angry. And that means we will get trouble. So that's why it's called the mad elephant offense, to make offenses towards devotee. It's a mad elephant. And Bhagavad says if you have a very beautiful rose garden, beautiful flowers and some small trees standing, and then a mad elephant come in there will be nothing left. All your roses will be broken, your trees will be uprooted. So this is really what we do when we invite this mad elephant in our heart. So if we have one rule in our spiritual life, this should be one. Never criticize devotees. Actually, never criticize. And that doesn't mean we cannot help others improve. But especially devotees. Lord Caitanya Prabhu said, if you do not, to his mother, if you do not criticize jivas and you chant Hare Krishna to the best of their ability, you will go back and right to God. But because it's so difficult, this not criticizing, not finding faults, and seeing this person has this fault, this person has this fault. So as long as we have that mentality, Prabhupada says this is the mentality of a fly, Shastra says. A fly, and a fly can come over the most beautiful rose garden. But where will the fly go? It will look for one piece of stool or dirt, and he'll go there and he will go and suck up all the fat and eat that. So our mentality should be like a bee. A bee can go of a complete dump yard and there's all kind of sewage, and he see one rose there, and that's where the bee will go. So we should know this. We should never have the mentality of a fly. We should always have the mentality of a bee. Then we say, Srinara peace we cannot Tarawan Amani Namani Deva Kirtan. Then we should be more humble than a blade of grass. More tolerant. More humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. And ready to give all respect to others. In such a state of mind, we can chant Hare Krishna constantly. So if we ever wonder why we cannot chant Hare Krishna with attention, that's why. Most of 99% of the case, this is why. We are making aparats, we're making offenses. And it's often to the jivas and it's often to devotees. Yes?
If we try not to see anything as separate from Krishna, it also helps, because then we will also understand whatever faults we see in other, maybe that is something we should look in our own hearts, maybe as some impurities.
Yeah.
So it's, instead of criticizing, we just think.
There's the saying, if you point one finger, you have 3 fingers pointing back at you.
And it's true.
It is. Yeah, we should just avoid it. Instead of doing like this, we should be like this. I can't do it with the thumb.
Prabhuji, in this purport, it is mentioned that devotee of the Lord does not retaliate against the wrongdoer. But in one of the previous purports, I found there are 6 kinds of aggressors whom we kill, they will not incur any sin.
Yeah.
So is that devotee who kills?
It's more Dharma Shastra. So one of them is if some attack with fire, one kidnapped your wife, or he poison is one of them. So there's all these different kinds, and there you're allowed to kill the person, but maybe that's not recommended. Like we just had some Muslim attacking here, so then you could go out and kill them. That would not look back so good in the headlines in the newspapers for the Hare Krishna movement. So in one sense that's not really, because we are not Kshatriyas like that, and we're not living in Kshatriya community. So, but still the rules are there for but it's more dharma system.
How Kshatriya, the duty that kill devils and that follow the dharma, how they will correlate with this theory, how they will come out of, how many they will concentrate on Lord Krishna every time they will perform their duty.
A Kshatriya in that society, he would immediately do. And actually, Duryodhana did all 6 of them towards the Pandavas. So that's why also they had to kill him. But again, in modern society, even if you're Kshatriya, I don't think we should act on these things. Then it's better to follow Krishna's instructions. And that's against peace religion. If somebody attacks me, it doesn't really matter. But if he attacks another devotee. But then again, if somebody really attacks us, it's our duty to protect ourselves. Okay? So, but it's maybe not to kill the person. So it's all according to time player service that if we are in a situation and we can avoid it without violence, that's the position of the devotee. But if it's completely unavoidable, as mentioned before, if somebody wants to rape the children, then you use violence.
You should be in a state of mind to decide in which situation you have to be in. Few situations definitely you can, and few situations you can avoid.
Yeah. So that takes discrimination like anything else we do in our lives. We need to come to a point where we know what's right and wrong in every given situation. And if we don't, we praise and say it's to Krishna. And Krishna gives us these things.
We had one very interesting time on Harinam, where some drug addicts, they went first on Kumagora in the back, my husband, and he just tried to avoid them. But then they came up front from behind, and then they were going on Caitanya Candra, who was up front singing. So Kumagora flew on them and threw them between the 3 tables in Nyhavn on some cafes, and sat on top of this one guy, and we were all a little bit shocked. But later on we went there and apologized to everybody. The police came and took these 2 guys away. But it is like that. You can try to avoid it from yourself like that. But if you see an attack on devotees, then it is proper. I felt very protected that you didn't have to get your head in the ground or. Because sometimes, when they are drug addicts, you cannot just start preaching.
Sometimes, again, it's just impossible. You're just in a situation you have to. We tried it a few times. It's often on high levels if we try it. Tried it a few times. But again, if we can avoid it, we should avoid it. Because it's not really what we want to see. It's not the opinion about the Hare Krishna stuff that running around in the streets singing and then beating people up. So, but if it's unavoidable, then the attack is our duty to protect us.
Is it something that an individual who is on a higher spiritual level, he has got the power to register all the negative waves which comes to him? Like all great people, like animals, if they go there, they'll be calm and cool. So all other negative energy, when they go there, it just they surrender to that positive energy.
No, I don't think so. If people are evil and if people really are bent on having a fight, you can be the most peaceful person on the planet, but still they want to fight.
How about the powerful people, like demigods? They have got a control.
That's why
Well, if the demigods, they can control them, yeah, for sure. They can control them.
Yeah.
But most of the things here are just working on karma. So that's what the demigods are doing. They're just giving and rewarding people their karma.
Mm-hmm.
And their karma, part of their karma is they are very violent. That's part of their karma. It's like people who are violent, and people who